Hi guys, welcome to the first episode of the Spotless Mind Podcast. I am your host, Olivia Jonelle. Okay, so clearly there's a celebration. It is my 27th birthday, and I am here in Atlanta for this second time. This is my second time living here. I've been here for 4 weeks. I know you guys, all y'all may not know me, so I have to do an introduction. But first, I wanted to acknowledge why there were so many balloons and why it's a birthday cake. Yes, I am 27. I don't know why this year feels like my year of just like maturing, leveling up, doing the things that I said I was going to do, self-discipline. I got my vision board right there. I'm going to show you guys that in a later episode. But in this episode, I just wanted to do an introduction for the people who don't know me. I wanted to celebrate my birthday with you guys, and I want to tell you guys what the podcast is going to be about and when you guys can expect uploads. I was born in North Carolina, Winston-Salem to be exact. So my family is a middle-class household. I grew up as a cheerleader and a gymnast. And overall, I would say my childhood was amazing. I have amazing parents. They're still together. I have a stepdad and my mom. My real dad is currently not in my life, but he's been in and out throughout my childhood. At the age of 18, everybody was trying to decide where they were going to college, what they were going to do. And I had told everybody I was going to UCLA because I thought that sounded so cool at the time. But realistically, I had never applied and I knew nothing about California. About a month or two later, my mom said, "You can go anywhere in the world for your birthday. Where do you want to go?" I said, "California. Take me to California," because that's what everybody was going to UCLA. She was like, "Bet, let's go." So we went to California, and we did all the touristy stuff. And one of the touristy things we did was went to Hollywood Boulevard. Now, when I went there, I was 17 or 18. Everyone was pulling me over and they were like, "Oh my God, you're so gorgeous. Can I take pictures with you?" Like, oh my God, they're hyping me up, right? I just like to say that never happened once I moved there, but it's okay. So in that moment, all of the attention, all of the gratification made me want to go, you know what? I want to move there. I want to become an actress because everyone thinks I'm gorgeous, and obviously I can do that. I came back from that trip and I quit cheerleading. I was cheerleading at my high school at the time. I quit the cheerleading team, and I immediately got a job at Chipotle. I worked at Chipotle for 7 months until the end of high school, until graduation. And about a month later, I had planned to move to California to become an actress. I had $10,000 saved up for my experience, and I went. A lot of people say that was brave. A lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, like I could never have done that." But at 18, like I had no fear. It was like, duh, I'm gonna make it. Duh, I'm gonna be a Hollywood star. Like, do you see my face? Everyone thinks I'm cute. So for sure, I just knew that I would be famous. So I get there. Chipotle had transferred me over. And so everything is going good. I'm learning about the industry. I had been in like one theater class in high school, but I had never did anything acting. My only performing thing was cheerleading. So I knew about the makeup and the hair, and that's the stuff I look forward to. And I spent the next, 6 years till I was 24 hustling and grinding and learning how to be an actress. And I had literally some of the greatest experiences of my life. Best decision ever. But it wasn't all peaches and rainbows. So LA is a beast. The girls like to be cute. The girls like to have the nicest things, and you get caught up in that I guess like keeping up with the Kardashian vibe, and you want to have all the nicest makeup and you want to have like all the nicest things. And so for a while I was working at Chipotle and trying to figure it out. And uh, eventually, a few years in, I started learning about things like dancing and stripping and sugar daddies and dating rich men and, you know, the whole lifestyle. And I got into it and I loved it. And that transformed me into a career of dancing. And so, yeah, I became a stripper for a few years while I was there, and really paid for a lot of my acting, a lot of my living expenses while I lived in LA, and got me some sugar daddies, dated some rich men, and went on a lot of nice dates, and just lived the I guess young luxury lifestyle of LA, and I had an absolute blast. It was a wild time, good and bad, and it was March 10th, 3 days after my birthday, and I was going wild, I was going crazy, March 20, 2020 to be exact. And I was out with some friends and we were drinking mimosas, we were having a good time, and I got a DUI. Yeah. So I was all the way in my right hand lane, and I had swerved to all the way to the median because it was raining, I was a little tipsy, and I had crashed and totaled my car. At the time, I didn't realize that you could walk away from a scene. Not that I'm recommending it, but that's that's what I was told to do after the fact. And so I totaled my car. The police came to help me. And they said, have you been drinking? And I was like, I've had some mimosas. And they were like, okay, turn around. And they arrested me. Not so nicely as I'm putting it, but whatever. I refused to take the breathalyzer, so it got crazy. And I had to stay in a drunk tank, I think it was called, where they basically put you in a holding cell for 24 hours. And I got released. And then maybe a month later, COVID was in full effect. So at the time, my acting career was going really, 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 really great. I was starting to book my dream roles. I had just booked Insecure. Yeah, shout out to Issa Rae. I had just booked Insecure at HBO. I had a manager. I was a SAG actress. I was getting paid very good money just to do background, doing print work, doing commercials. And I was doing so good that I was able to loan my parents $20,000 and help them move out to LA. So they moved out. So they were there. At the time, I was even like considering staying with them. And so when COVID hit, it was a really big shift in my life, because for the first time in history, in my life, everything was shut down. Nothing was open. And if you were in California, you know it got real. I mean, only 3 people can go in the grocery store. Everyone had to wear masks. It was 6 feet apart. Curfew was 8 p.m. So everybody was in their house by 8 p.m. And it was just silent. I mean, nobody on the road. I had just totaled my car, so I couldn't even go anywhere either way. I had decided to move back in with my parents because There was no work, there was nothing to do. And so I'm living in their apartment, and the only thing open at the time was a Barnes and Nobles, which is when I had first got introduced to, I'm not gonna say reading, but like that's what I kind of spent my time doing for the 2 years, well, 1.5 years that I was staying with my parents, because it was the only thing open. It was right across the street. And so at the time, I had got into entrepreneurship because my mom is an entrepreneur. So it was like, okay, well, if I have no control over the studios when they're open, when I'm gonna book gigs, like what roles I'm gonna play, I might as well learn about entrepreneurship and really start a business. I had always wanted to. I had always done like little projects, but I had never like finished out a project, never finished out a career. I'm reading, I don't know if I said this already, but I was reading Think and Grow Rich, The Science of Getting Rich. I was reading about the mindset of rich people, what the richest people do in this world, and I was learning that the richest people are entrepreneurs, and the artist lifestyle, not to say you can't become rich, not to say rich is everybody's goal either, but I wanted to be financially stable. I wanted to be able to work anywhere. And I wanted to have more control over my jobs, my bookings, my money, my impact, and no longer wait for somebody to hand me a role, hand me a gig. My best friend at the time, her family was in Atlanta, and she was like, just come and like visit with me and, get out of LA. And I was like, okay. So we went to, if you watch my YouTube channel, it was Makari, y'all all know her. We went to Atlanta to go visit her family, and Atlanta was wide open. It was like COVID who, COVID what? COVID, what's that? And so being here and seeing all the black people and then seeing all the black businesses, I was like, yeah, this is the place I need to be. This is where I feel like I will thrive the most. So I moved to Atlanta, and my plan was to dance. I had been watching like these stripper videos on how to make $14,000 a week, and this girl, I'm not gonna say her name, but she was having a reality show, and it was called Stripper Boot Camp. I don't know if that gave that away, but she was having a stripper reality show. And I was like, you know what? Like, this would be so connected with me because I'm a stripper. I also like entertainment, and it's Atlanta, so I should make lots of money, right? So I come out here, I do the reality show, and it gets my YouTube monetized. So I'm not saying it's a complete regret, but Atlanta strip clubs were nothing like LA, and just different, okay? So I'm here for a year. I had got my DUI, and I'm not driving because I don't have a license. It got suspended, and I just got out the reality show. I didn't even complete it. I left like 4 days in because it was just not what I needed in my life at the time. And so, yeah, I stayed here, and I met some really awesome entrepreneurs. If you're part of the morning meetup, shout out to the morning meetup. Yeah, I joined the morning meetup and was instantly connected with hundreds of entrepreneurs, and it really started shaping my mind into who I wanted to be next. Like, I knew I was leaving acting at the time, but I didn't realize like in what ways was I leaving entertainment? Was I done for good? Was it just Hollywood? I didn't know. I learned about drop shipping at the time, and at the time it seemed like the perfect career because I can work from home, I can work from my computer, I could have a limited income, I'll be an entrepreneur. I love the idea of e-commerce, still love e-commerce, so I was like, you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get into it. So I found my mentor. Shout out to Supreme Ecom. And I started learning drop shipping. I made some decent money, and I was working from home, building my store from Atlanta, and just kind of like finding my way into this new profession. Winter hits, and I am not feeling dancing anymore. Don't want to do it. My knees don't work the same. I'm not enjoying it. And so I see that the people who were teaching me, my mentors, about drop shipping is hiring. So I'm like, okay, okay. I'm in a relationship at this time. And so I'm telling him about it, and I'm so excited. And I'm like, it's in Dallas. Like, I think it'll be really good for me. I think if they're making millions, I'll make millions from just being around them. Will you come with me? He did not want to come with me. And so, yeah, I ended up choosing the job over him. And I moved to Texas. So, Texas, first of all, Dallas, Texas has amazing transportation, the nicest people in the world, the most beautiful, diverse city in the world, in my opinion. And I loved it. So I met with them. The vibes were so good. And then they wasn't. And then the vibes weren't good. Then they kind of shifted. And my parents had came out there and visited me. We had a great time. And I worked there for about 3 months. And I asked to go on a trip to Thailand for a couple weeks. And they said no. And I had asked for that like later on in the year, like November. I was planning it. That was like 2022 at the time. And they said no. And I, in the office, cried in front of everybody. And it made me realize that I am not an employee. I didn't make as much money as I had thought I would. I learned a lot about the inner works of drop shipping, and it's not as easy or as simplex that online advertisers would make it seem. It takes a lot of work and it takes some money behind it. And so, yeah, 3.5 months in, I quit without a 2 weeks notice. I was like, I got to go. And so I went back to dancing. I worked at a strip club there for maybe a couple months, maybe 3 months at the longest. Finally had my license approved to get it back, so I had bought a car. And at the time I was living in Oak Cliff, and shout out to Oak Cliff. Loved Oak Cliff, loved the black people in Oak Cliff, loved black people in general. Okay. And Oak Cliff at the time was going through I guess like a lot of car break-ins, and so I didn't feel safe where I was. I had got like a luxury affordable housing apartment, I guess you can call it. So it was really nice, but it was still in a sketchy neighborhood. So my car got broken into, and It was in the middle of winter. It was cold as hell, okay? Cold as, okay? And it's Christmas 2022, and I am just so depressed. And I forgot to mention, during the middle of my dancing, I was looking for a new opportunity for my life at the time, and I had gotten to wholesaling real estate, but I didn't have a car at the time, so that made it kind of hard. And so then after that, I had got into selling life insurance, which is what I do now. Shout out to life insurance. Get yourself some life insurance. And yeah, I sold life insurance. I was selling life insurance at the time. And what I love about it is it's unlimited income. You are in charge of your own business. I'm a broker for California, Georgia, and Texas. So call me if you need some life insurance. And so I knew that I can kind of pick up and do my job anywhere. And so because of what happened with the car break-in, my car being broken into, they let me move my apartment complex. They let me move from apartment complexes without any fee or anything. My mom at the time had came and visited me again in Dallas. And so she went to the apartment. She was like, something about it, I'm not feeling it. Something seems off. And so I decided, well, even though I love Dallas, I was like, you know what? I never really got to give Atlanta a chance with a car, with transportation, with being able to move around. I'm not gonna lie, like my ex being here, I was like, I might want to come back to that thing. I might. And so, yeah, I packed up all of my things. I gave away most of my furniture for free. And I left Dallas and I came back to Atlanta February 1st. I'm back in Atlanta. I'm selling life insurance. 27 now. I'm single. I guess, the ex thing didn't work out. And I wanted to start a podcast about being single, being a modern woman in today's world who wants to get married, who wants a family, but only if it's everything she wants. Only if it's better than being single. Only if I'm healed and I'm happy in that relationship. And yes, it takes good men to achieve that, but also it takes you becoming the woman you need to be. It takes healing. It takes mentors. It takes dieting better, feeding yourself better. It takes keeping up with your looks. It takes educating yourself, getting smarter. It takes knowing what you want. It takes being vigilant and consistent in your career. And yeah, I want to say that I'm so thankful for our history as Black people, because this was the dream. This was what the march was for. This was what they fought for. Sometimes you can believe that it was all for nothing, but in all reality, it's coming to life. It's manifesting like your whole life can if you put intention into it, if you put love into it, if you put dedication into it. And this is what this podcast is about. This is what Spotless Mind is about. If you haven't heard the song, come back, listen to the song. It's about being able to transform. It's about being able to be whoever you need to be at the time to serve you, whoever you need to be at the time to make you happy, whoever you need to be to get what you want. Of course, I have some morals in the play, but I'm not strapped down to any one place. I'm not attaching myself to anything unless it's exactly what I want, what I deserve, and aligned with God and aligned with my vision for life. So, yeah, welcome to Spotless Mind, the Spotless Mind podcast, where we're going to talk about healing. We're going to talk about becoming our best selves so that we can have a husband one day. We can have these kids, and it's not just with men who, or women, we're in 2023, or women who, you're settling for. This is a podcast about enjoying your singleness and embracing who you are 100%, or get somebody else to do it. So yeah, I'm so excited. We're about to light this cake, celebrate chapter 27. That's what I'm calling it. Chapter 27, that's what's on my vision board. This is about me having the self-discipline and inspiring you, and you guys inspiring me and holding me accountable to the self-discipline and the life that I am ready to live. So let's light this candle, shall we? Look, life is all about sounds these days, and I feel like I'm literally like living sounds. Shout out to 2023. Let me show you my setup here. I have some lactose-free ice cream. It's brown. I'm not sure I'm gonna like that, but shout out to 27. Added some strawberries. All right, let me make a wish. I asked for like 3 things. I asked for 3 things. Shout out to 27 guys. Let's go. Let's go. All right, first bite with you guys. A little strawberry with it. Bite. Grew up with a coconut cake almost every year in my household for birthdays. So shout out to my mom. Shout out to my parents. Thank you. All right, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you on episode number 2, and hopefully many, many more. Tuesday, I think it's going to be Tuesday mornings. Yeah, Tuesday mornings. I don't know what time yet, but we'll figure it out. Okay, bye.